Java Server Pages or JSP is a basically standard technology that developers use to write dynamic data-driven web pages for Java-based web application. What does I mean by dynamic and data-driven? Now, when we talk about a web application, basically we are discussing it's a dynamic application, dynamic showing data as compared to static websites. Basically, for dynamic data, we use that particular JSP pages for showing that particular data from the server. JSP is built on top of Java Servlet specification. Let's understand JSP in this way. A simple JSP page consists of HTML markup embedded with JSP tags. Basically, we use different JSP tags for the use of showing data inside the markup languages. The markup languages are basically HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Basically, these are HTML is a basic markup language, and JavaScript and CSS for using front end side. JSP files have the JSP extension in Java. Basically, the JSP server, also called JSP container, basically is configured to direct an HTTP request to a specific JSP page, which is then responsible for rendering an HTTP response, and then that response will be displayed to the end user via browser. As we discussed, we use the browser to access those web applications. When the request arrives, the file is basically processed on the server, and the HTML is rendered as the application view of web page. The embedded JSP tags will be used to call server-side code and data. Let's say when you navigate to Amazon.com and click on particular category, after clicking on that particular the data that request, basically we send that request to server, and server will send us back the requested data. And on the browser, basically after hitting that particular request, there are different list of products will be basically available to viewers on that particular page. That's a basically functionality of listing on the data and items on Amazon website by using the JSP tags. Basically, this is a basic and basically an example of what is actually basically a JS tag. Now the basically is ultimate product of JSP is basically a vanilla HTML that the client browser can understand. Basically, client understand these HTML markup languages and render those data. Now, basically, we are going to see an example, a very basic example of a JSP page, and we will use the JSP tags here. Basically, a simple JSP page consists of as HTML markup embedded with JSP tags. We are using the HTML for rendering the over website on a browser, and for dynamic data we basically embed JSP tags on that particular HTML markup. Let's see an example here. Let's navigate to VS Code here. Here we have basically a Java file, and we are basically rendering using the HTML markup language, basically, and inside the HTML markup language we just use basically a simple example of JSP tags inside this paragraph tag of HTML. Let's understand what is the basically purpose of or how to basically understand this JSP tag. As you can see here, a block of HTML that include JSP expression. Basically, this is called basically JSP expression here, which is an instruction to the Java server, basically written using the expression language. In this basically expression, which is starting with $sign and then curly brace and 2 multiplied by 2, is and basically this particularly for particularly this section we are calling this particularly. This is a basically JSP expression. Basically, this is called basically JSP expression. It's a basically JS syntax for rendering Java code to HTML page. This dollar sign basically with the curly braces tells the JSP process basically, hold on for a second, we are about to start talking about something special. Basically, inside the HTML we are basically just using these tags like paragraph tag and then close these tags. This is basically normal syntax of HTML, basically for showing different text related information, and for that particular purpose we are basically use these tags. This is simple. If we are performing something special, then we used our dynamic content rendering, we used basically those JSP tags and JSP expression. That's a particular method of basically using the JSP tags in this example. Let's elaborate more about we are talking about something special basically in this expression. When this expression will be executed, the JSP page will output the result of executing whatever inside this particular expression. In our case, we are just multiplying two numbers here to multiply to in this particular expression. We can also dynamically change the information inside this basically JSP expression according to our requirement. In this case, it will be basically print the number 4 in this particular JSP. That's basically a very quick example of JSP basically JSP page and text. That's all we have discussed about related to the JSP. Let's quickly summarize what we have covered in this module. We have discussed about the basics of web applications, different basically difference between a website and web application. Then we discussed 3-tier web application: front end side, back end side, and then the database side. Then we proceed further for the quick overview for Java Servlet and the Java JSP. Basically we saw the difference between those JSP pages and the Java Servlet. Basically think of JSP and Java Servlet as a way to write markup for interacting with the backend. Usually markup like HTML is sent to the client where it interacts with the backend server via JavaScript. JSP are basically pre-processor that tell HTML that to execute special commands after that particular code. Java Servlets and Java classes run by a web server that has an interpreter that support the Java Servlet specification, and it can be read by Java Servlet and Java Servlet HTTP packages. Basically these are for it's basically specifying all the information for rendering dynamic content on web pages. That's all we discuss about the Java Servlets and Java Servlet. That's all for this video. Now we are going to discuss further topics in our next module.